Hello, and welcome back to more Rogue Squadron for the computer. With me again is, as always, Chaos Argate.
Hello.
How are you? So, today's missions include Defection at Corellia. You'll notice that next to the name there was already a medal. So, basically, I've played this before. I think I mentioned it before, although it's been a while since we last recorded. Rogue Squadron is a very, very hard game to record. It doesn't like, different resolutions, doesn't like, playing around with any settings, so...
Is that why these models are pretty aliased?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like, it's, Rogue Squadron has not aged well. Which is unfortunate. It'd be fun if the other Rogue Squadron games were ported to the PC, but it's obviously never going to happen.
An Imperial officer, Crix Maydeen, wants to defect. Apparently he has a lot of information on the Empire's military ground operation. I'm going to contact him after my meeting with the city officials in the Capitol Tower. Keep your eyes open for any sign of trouble.
One of the things that sucks about Rogue Squadron, if I had to pick something, is that the game sort of, it's not very subtle in that every time there's a snow speeder level, there are AT-AT walkers.
Uh-huh.
And those things, they're huge. We'll get to see them, but again, the problem is that like you're locked into playing with this. So there's only one way to kill them.
One sec. What kind of view is this? Like, who is that just looking out the back window?
Okay, so in episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, we get to see snowspeeders for the first time, and snowspeeders have a rear gunner. Although the purpose of the rear gunner isn't to shoot down like enemy fighters or whatever, we'll get to see what the exact purpose is.
Oh, okay. So that's just that's one of the rear gunners then.
Yeah, he's our rear gunner.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Again, the problem is that we come across whenever we use the snowspeeder is that it kind of like ruins any suspense as to like what we're going to do or what the main purpose is. It'd be interesting if the game had certain scenarios where AT-AT walkers like they just ran amok and maybe like your friendlies would take them out. But that certainly won't be the case, unfortunately.
Right. Oh well.
Another thing that really sucks is that the building that we just flew over, the middle portion of that building goes as high as the map can go.
Uh-huh.
And enemy fighters can fly above that. So if you're dumb because you've experienced it once before, or if you forget, you will crash into the building and just die immediately. It's not fun.
That sounds like something I'd end up doing just because I like, dicking around in games.
Yeah, like it'll happen to you at least once. So don't take my you're dumb as like as some sort of like personal insult or whatever. It's just without knowing like it's gonna happen to you.
I suppose, and also like seeing other like, I guess other like planes or whatever just fly over it kind of makes you think, oh, can I do that too?
Yeah, exactly. There's the precedent that the game sets does not apply to you, unfortunately. So, it's important to note that getting as many kills as you can is like paramount. Mostly because your friendlies can shoot down enemies, although how often they do so, and so on, is sort of random.
Mm-hmm.
You can't count on them to ever get any kills, but number of kills affects your rating. So getting stuff like those 3 like sea skippers or whatever those boats were, super important.
Right.
Also, for whatever reason, Han Solo and Chewbacca show up.
Thought I might give you a hand.
Why not? I mean, Luke Skywalker's here too.
Well, I mean, Luke Skywalker's part of Rogue Squadron. It's, important for him to be part of it. But Han Solo being there just randomly is a little weird. It's also, I should also point out that getting upgrades like the one we just found, one is hard for that one because it's like stuck in a bunch of buildings, and if you don't do it properly, you will slam into a building and, of course, blow up.
Right.
But you need those to get the highest rating.
Of course.
Also, fun fact, the guy who voices Crix Maydeen, the guy we're trying to help escape, and Han Solo, same guy. So, so you can kind of like it's funny too because you can hear it. Like there's not much done.
Go for the legs. Activate harpoon.
So this is the special function for the Snow Speeder. Of course, if you've seen episode 5, and if you haven't, seriously go watch it. It's a good movie. It's kind of obvious as to like what you're supposed to do. But for those of you who haven't watched Star Wars, you cretins, you basically just have to toggle your special weapon once you're near the legs, and then do as I'm doing right now and flying around the legs.
And I don't even really care about Star Wars, and even I know that scene.
Now there are several problems with it. Namely, it's a console game ported to PC. See, like I can't go up to shooting, but anyways, so it's a console game ported to PC. So the controls, if you're doing this with PC controls, I mean, just stop playing this game, find a PS3 controller, an Xbox controller, whatever, and use that, because you'll never freaking do it. Secondly, the camera loves to bug out and will sometimes like not show your craft. So you have to know like what degrees are safe for you to turn and unsafe. Because if you turn too hard, you will turn into its legs, bounce off, and it'll do a lot of damage. And if you're even unluckier, you might bounce into him like several times and immediately just die. So
that sounds awful.
Yeah. Also, these guys are on a hard timer because of how slow they're moving. You generally have a good amount of time, but spending too much of it, trying to kill them, will obviously make it so that killing other units to get your max rating will suffer.
Right. Does the camera thing like also happen on like console, or is it just a PC thing?
As far as I understand it, it's only on PC. I don't remember it ever happening on my N64. It could just be that it never happened. Maybe I just got unlucky. I don't know, but I would very much be willing to blame the PC port on this rather than the console release.
That's unfortunate.
Also, sometimes you can blow the head off, and sometimes you blow the entire body. And when you get the entire body, it's like a huge explosion, and it's way more satisfying.
Does it give you any like bonus points?
I think it just counts as a kill, but there's no point system so much as just like everything is scored individually. So
Right.
it's not like you kill a TIE fighter, you get 10 points. It's just it adds a tally to your kill count. I also had to play this level so many times that like if you notice me just like flicking left and right, that's literally me just being really bored and trying to stay in tune with the song.
I had a feeling. Because I do the same thing.
I was like, man, I've done this like 6 times trying to get a proper recording. Never worked.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like, I think the most recent thing I've done that kind of thing would be like auto-scrolling sections in Shovel Knight. Just because I get so bored waiting for the screen to catch up. Because I was playing Spectre Knight, and he's pretty fast, so I just kind of end up like ducking up and down a couple times.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem with this level in particular. There aren't too many that you have a lot of dead time with, but this one I find I always had like we're at almost 10 minutes right now, and most missions will, I want to say, hang around like 6, maybe 8, depending on difficulty and so on. So it feels noticeably longer, and it's just waiting for stuff to happen.
Right.
General Reagan! It's all right, Luke. You held them off long enough. We evacuated everyone just in time, thanks to Captain Solo and Chewbacca.
Just in time? You had plenty of time.
My favorite building anyway.
No, but you see, those 2 bombers showed up out of nowhere and blew up the building. I blame my partners. They should have had that one. I took out 62 guys. Come on. They couldn't pull their own weight?
Clearly not.
The cowardly.
Apologies for me flicking left and right. I do this so that I can get like a proper recording of the mission audio. And you know, the irony is that we're talking over it in the uncut audio. But so if you want to hear, you know, the briefings and everything, obviously go check the uncut version or the cut version. But I remember that when I was starting to record this for the LP, the first two missions, like, they never played nice, you know, quote unquote, and I had to really jigger around like how I was going to record it. So that's just a precautionary measure. Make sure I get all the audio.
Right. That's understandable.
So, in keeping with interesting missions, because most of them offer very many different things, in this one, we're mainly playing Escort. And
joy.
That would sound boring, but honestly, there's enough to do that, like, it doesn't become a problem. So, the first thing we're doing is, obviously, there's, you know, a huge city that we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to protect the Y-Wings. Now, it's hard trying to figure out like part numbers because one, I'm not going to look into the game code, and as I don't know like how much research has been done on how many hits each Y-Wing can take and so on. Anyways, point is that we're basically watching over these guys and making sure that they can go around and disable those like weird gray vessels that are just like floating above the city.
Right.
So every time they disable one, I think you get a message for it, and then they'll advance to a second portion in the map. So obviously, the faster you kill enemies that could kill the Y-Wings, the less damage they take. The less damage they take, the faster they act. The faster they act, the faster you complete the mission. So it's sort of like you're on a time limit, and obviously for the ratings you are anyways. But it's much more involved than you would initially think.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ground units, and these guys, you want to kill these assholes as quickly as possible. I find they do a hell of a lot of damage to the Y-Wings. But once you've cleared out the area, you can just like leave them alone. You don't need to babysit them too much.
Okay.
And speaking of babysitting, once they've done the first area, you get that triggered cutscene, and we get to the, I don't want to say like annoying part, but the mission becomes a little bit more boring for a reason we're gonna see fairly quickly, I believe. Also, I really hate that tower.
I don't think I'd begrudge you for that.
Also, keeping with like the way I'm playing this LP, we only have whatever upgrades are available to us at the time. So you won't see me like fish for better upgrades that are available later in the game and coming back and
right.
having an easier time basically. Because there are some, there's at least one upgrade that like breaks the game, and we'll see that like in way later.
Okay.
But here's the annoying part. So this is the level that brings out TIE Interceptors. And if you know anything about Star Wars, TIE Interceptors are the more badass looking TIE fighters. They're a lot faster, and they have more guns. And because they're faster, they're also more agile. And the problem with that is that X-Wings don't have the same amount of mobility, and they kind of suffer for it. So you'll see me in a lot of turning fights trying to eke out like just a little bit more turning ability so I can get a kill. Because obviously...
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, because obviously you can't let these guys live, because if they live, they get the Y-Wings and so on. So you kind of... The AI does not always play well, so you kind of have to keep turning, and then... Sometimes you get lucky, you get a turn in on them. So.
Give me a sec to let this this mild vertigo calm down.
It's like, don't eat before watching this video.
I just came off of lunch, too.
I mean, at least the landscape is varied, so it's not like the same image.
I suppose, but I'm getting a little disoriented watching this.
It's okay, it's over. I actually like this conversation, so...
Here's a little message from Gold Squadron.
This is Lieutenant Jason Moore of the Imperial 128th to Unidentified Y-Wing. Are you quite done? My vehicle has been disabled for a good 2 minutes now.
Jason Moore, consider yourself a prisoner of the Rebel Alliance.
Well, if you quit shooting at me, I have a proposal to make. One which would serve us all.
So, for whatever reason, she becomes a turncoat. I think it's explained in, like, the next mission? I can't remember. I might have to actually look up her bio or something. But that's it for this video, and we'll see you next time.